What is clearly a scam, but is so normalized people don't notice. Ink cartridges. Printer companies make barely any profit off of actual printers. They are just vessels to make you buy unreasonably priced cartridges. Hey, please print this document in black and white. Fuck you, give magenta. Internet data cap. F-king scammers. The diamond industry, specifically as it relates to jewelry. Everything that the average person knows about it stems from propaganda and advertisements created by De Beers. They aren't rare, they aren't worth what you pay for them, they don't appreciate in value, and are a terrible investment. They aren't special. Starbucks. I pay $9.99 for 51 ounces of Folgers ground coffee, roughly 388 ounce cups. That comes out to about $0.02 per cup of coffee. At Starbucks, a tall dark roast costs $1.85. I could have 92.5 cups of Folgers at home before I pay for one Starbucks. My tub of Folgers is worth $703 if I were to sell it at the same price as Starbucks, and I'm using reusable cups every day. Those Keymaster games that usually have something like a Switch and a pair of Beats and stuff. I work part-time at an arcade and you physically cannot win a prize until the machine has taken its retail equivalent in cash. The school picture industry. $80 for an awkward picture of my baby? Nope, thanks. Printer ink. I just paid for the privilege of setting up my router. IDK if it's normalized, but McAfee's security service. In my own experience with the service, it's done literally nothing for me, except pop up every time I open my computer or nearly every 4 hours or so. I remember my ex-GF's grandma who fell victim for the service. I tried to talk them down from it and not to pay the service, but I was much too late for any semantics. So I just took it to memory that every computer already comes with security software, and any outside security software, if not installed properly, checked with 100% concentrated power of will, you're going to have a bad time. At least, I'm convinced that the McAfee service is just a virus that makes you pay similar to some of those other viruses that get your photo via your personal webcam, lock your computer, and show you a copy-pasted photo of a legal document urging you to pay a ransom. What was it? Ransomware. So my belief is that, even though most people may use McAfee as a computer firewall security service, it's more than likely a scam. Downvote me to hell, but at least convince me otherwise first. Bottled water, like Dasani, especially in places like an amusement park that markups the price a shocking amount. Also, the average markup of bottled water is 4000%, which is f-king outrageous. BC water is literally free most places. Payday loans. Back to base security system monitoring. Huge scam. My smart home security system alerts me faster than ADT ever did. Biggest offenders. When you don't answer the call, they will send out someone and will charge you a fee. And every time your system messes up, it will send false error codes to the monitoring station, which they will charge you a huge fee to fix. And oh, if you want to disconnect it, the guy I spoke to from ADT was going to charge me $250 call out plus $50 for every 15 minutes he was at my house, and the job would have taken at least an hour. They said they may need to go into the roof. No, I just called a security installation electrician, and he said $50 call out and $30 for every 30 minutes he was there, but that was depending on the type of job. He was at my house for 5 minutes. Power off. Remove power wires from control box. Protect the wires so it's safe. Replace cover on control box. Done. He only charged $50, compared to ADT's service which would have cost about $450. ADT hardwired it into our power system without telling us what circuit they plugged into. Basically one flip of a switch outside and the system turns off. Edit. Jesus Christ, 1000 upvotes. I guess people really don't like ADT or those companies. Every single person on the internet that sells some sort of millionaire education, it's all bullshit. Every single one of them. They are all f-king liars. Most of them are not even rich to begin with. They fake it enough that some idiots buy it. You are customers to them. Nothing more. Ticketmaster. Often, the point isn't the not noticing, but the having a lack of better alternatives. rent to own furniture and appliances, scientific journal memberships, those registries that people pay money to name a star, the games at fairs, carnivals, hot milfs in your area. Homeowners insurance. 1. Sorry, we are not selling new policies in your area right now because thing just happened where thing equals earthquake, wildfire, flood, and other things you might want to insure against. 2. We don't cover that sort of problem. Where that sort of problem equals anything that actually happens to your house due to weasel wording loopholes. 3. You submitted a claim. We are going to triple your rates forever after this. Manufacturers refusing documentation to private repair enterprises and requiring you to get your products fixed by the dealer. Basically, the reason for the right to repair movement. Paying for cable TV. The whole idea of paying was to create a revenue stream separate from that of marketing. There are a few out there, HBO, I think, but generally we pay to access the content and still have to spend 20% of the time sitting through commercials. Then streaming comes in, and we're free of advertisements again. For a bit. Now YouTube has tons of ads and other streaming services are talking about adding ads as well. Reducing a price by 1 cent to trick our brains into thinking a product costs less than it actually is. Social media. From their happy beginnings they are now mostly a funnel used to ram as many advertisements into your mind as inhumanly possible. Sponsored posts every third or fourth item I see you. IGFB, Reddit, etc. And that's not even mentioning the extensive filtering network that curates the information you get to see when you are looking for something. Curated information is just a nice expression for you being conditioned to form certain opinions by more stuff. Social media grew minds. Edit. Wow. Over 11k upvotes. If we may assume that 1 in 10 people bother to vote at all, this means that my post has been seen by over 100,000 people. This illustrates the amazing power of the internet. The irony is not lost on me that my most popular post ever should be about how social media have become overly commercialized to the point of being a scam equals. Things I learned from the comments and some light research. Many of you quoted the old saying, when the product is free, you are the product. The earliest attribution that I could find was to an artist named Richard Serra in 1973. To this I could add, there is no such thing as a free lunch. Building and running the internet is not free. In fact, several sources state that the internet consumes over 10% of the global electricity supply. Let that sink in for a bit. Using 10% of the global electricity supply is equivalent to running about half the USA or Germany plus Canada plus South Korea plus France plus UK plus Italy. Put another way, 10% of global CO2 emissions from electricity generation are due to running the internet. If we estimate that 50% of internet activity consists of sending around advertising and spam, we have to ask ourselves, is that really worth spending 5% of the world's entire electricity supply on? Or would it not be better to dial that fluff way back and start charging users a fair fee? Speaking for myself, I believe that the internet is an invaluable addition to our lives and I would be willing to pay a fair and transparent fee for an ad-free, tracker-free, spam-free, bot-free internet experience, certainly if that means that we will also save 5% of the world's global electricity. Note that I'm not saying the internet should be censored. Far from it. Of course, designing and implementing something like that will be very difficult. I think we will need to look to the EU for innovations in this space. I also learned that my ad blocking settings were overdue a refresh. I found that on my iOS iPhone, iPad in particular, it is hard to find effective ad blockers. This is due to the fact still that Apple does not allow browsers other than Safari on iOS. The Firefoxes and Chrome's UD1 load on those devices are simply copies of Safari with a different jacket slapped onto it, for which Mozilla and Google pay Apple a pretty penny, no doubt. This means that spectacularly effective open source ad blockers that should work on Firefox and Chrome and the like won't work on your iPhone and iPad. With some digging in the App Store I did find something that seems to work, but let me not advertise here. Suffice to say, it is useful to periodically update your ad blocking system, and it seems that free open source blockers are the best of the bunch. Am I contradicting myself by saying that? 1. I'm willing to pay a fair price for my internet use, but 2. At the same time I'm installing ad blockers? Yes, a bit, but I install the ad blockers mainly out of a concern for my privacy, which I believe is under heavy attack. Also, I believe the internet media have crossed a line. I mean, I can put up with some clearly identified advertising here and there, but who would enjoy a newspaper if at least 25% of it would be overt advertising, and maybe half of the rest cleverly disguised highly personalized paid content? If I can take a pair of automated scissors to such a rag, I believe I should. Woo. This edit started as a thank you to all who read my post and grew into a bit more. Perhaps I should start a discussion thread of my own because, clearly, the rampant commercialism on the internet annoys a great many of us.